Hello. Thank you very much for tuning into this current pick-a-read that I am doing. This is James 13 Wicca, and the subject for this pick-a-read is going to be how to get past the conflict. Hopefully this is helpful for some people. I'm going to do 3 choices this time. I've already shuffled the cards and made the piles, but these are the decks I'm going to be using. The Art of Love Tarot by Denise Jarvie, artwork by Tony Carmine Salerno. It's the website on the back here, hopefully that focuses, is blueangelonline.com. If you're hearing that jingly sound, that is my cat attacking a cat toy. You're welcome. The Oracle cards, well actually, yeah, the Oracle cards I'm going to use, Magical Spell Cards by Lucy Cavendish. Illustrated by Jesse Reish, and the website is there somewhere. The bottom of the tan color, the orangish tan, hayhouse.com if you're interested. The third deck is going to be the Thelema Tarot. Where's the website? It's at the bottom here. I feel like I mess this word up a lot. Once in a while I get it right, but you know, somebody tells me and then I don't use the deck for a while and I forget how to say it correctly. It's loscarabeo.com, loscarabeo.com. So feel free to check that out if you're interested. The dice, the purple ones are from these 2 places. The bigger ones from this one, the smaller purple ones from this. The pink one I've had for years. I don't know where it came from. I'm pretty confident I got it on Amazon, but if you're interested, it's mathartfun.com. Hopefully that's showing up on camera. mathartfun.com, no spaces. That's for this bigger dice. And the smaller dice is Tom Anders, which is, it's there somewhere. It's like right in front of my face, I know. I think it's impactminiatures.com, something like that, shopify.com. Hopefully that's focusing. Also, there's this. If I move my thumb out of the way. If you're a fan of using those, go ahead, use that. That should take you right there. Okay, I already did the piles. I'll get those piles out here next for you. Be right back. Okay, so for the choices we have here, got 3 choices this time. The star with the glitter inside. Hopefully I'm not getting in the sunlight or in the light here. So this is the star pile, number 1, star pile. Number 2 is the, it always makes me think of fool's gold, but it's not. I forget what it's called. It might be some type of marble, but it's a heart. So it's just the glittery heart. And the third and final one over here is a slice of a geode, which is pink. Little glittery pieces in the center, and there's a little crack there that I still like, even though there's a crack in it. I seem to think it's dyed. I could be wrong, just in case that matters anything to you. So go ahead, take a minute, decide what one works for you, and then hopefully we won't be attacked by a cat, but we might, fair warning. Go ahead and fast forward to the one that's best for you. Remember, the question is how to get past the conflict. That's what these are all going to be geared towards. Alright, here we go. Hello. Okay, so this is for those of you who chose the star for how to get past the conflict. So I'm going to see if we can keep that up there. We'll see if that works. Now I'm going to use a version of the Celtic cross. I am definitely that one who just kind of does it the way I want to do it. So some of you may realize this is a little different, and I'll explain it as I go. FYI, it's also the way I learned the cross, because I know there's different versions of the basic cross, so people might disagree with how I'm doing it in that sense, and that's fine. So I'll give you a quick overview. This is like what's currently happening. This is how I read that. This side I view as the past. I know other people don't, but this is where I view the past. This is where I view the future. This is the future if it goes well, choices you may be able to make it go well. This is the future with choices that could take you off path from where you want to be. Um, your current standings, where you stand in the position, environmental factors, hopes and fears, and the eventual outcome. The bottom spot here is like the base. It's kind of like the foundation of the house, is how I like to equate to. It's what you're building from. It's what the situation is made of. So, for example, if you have a house and it has a very firm, stable granite base, that's what this is going to tell you about. If it's a quicksand, or if it's very faulty base, this is what it's going to tell you too. These top cards here are kind of like the weather. So it's like the weather usually lasts for maybe, in some cases, a couple hours, maybe a couple days. Could be kind of like a seasonal thing, but I view this as kind of like the weather. This is the land you're standing on. This is the weather as it passes through, in case that means something to somebody. Alright, so how to get past the conflict. So let's start with the base of the situation. Oh, you have a lot of control in this situation is what I'm first getting. It may not seem like it, but the situation, I feel like you went into it with best of intentions. You are very much the creator of what's going on here is what I'm getting. Just to be fair, I do get that for some of you, maybe you don't feel like you're the creator, but it could be you might be inspiring somebody or pushing somebody else forward or kind of urging somebody forward who is the creator. I do feel like you have a lot of influence. Either way, I feel like you have a lot of influence on this situation. So what's our current energy? There's hopes and, well, the Seven of Cups is like, it's usually the dreamer card, but it's also, in my opinion, there's a lot of possibilities for choice. The trick with the dreamer card, the Seven of Cups, is to not just dream, but to bring some of these dreams into reality. It doesn't have to stay dreams. And some of these dreams may be very secret in the sense of like you don't like people knowing what you really want. Or it's one of those things, do I dare to dream? I know what I want, but I dare not put it out there for, the fear of being made fun of or, being blocked in that area. The Empress card here, no matter what your gender, don't get caught up in the gender of this card, but this is somebody who needs to make sure they take care of themselves as well as other people. It's not just about me card, it's about everybody. The thing is, the Empress seems to have this this need to do too much. So we got to be careful when we see that card come up that we don't do too much, and we always make sure we're taken care of just as much as everybody else. So far, it's like, it looks pretty good. It's more about what do you want and how do you look out for others, as well as making sure you're looked out for as well. So if we're going to make it really, really simple, if we're planning a dinner, because I'm a foodie and I love food, I know that so-and-so doesn't like, say they don't like hot, spicy foods, and somebody else doesn't like seafood. Okay, so we try to plan something without those two ingredients, but maybe you do love seafood, just for example. Maybe there's something here where, okay, dinner won't be centered around seafood, but maybe I'll have an appetizer or a side dish, maybe one or two side dishes, and one of the side dishes will be a seafood that you like. Nobody has to eat anything, right? But making sure that, maybe you like shrimp, for example. Making sure you have a side dish that's a shrimp dish that you like, that, you're included. This is something that's there because you want it. Other people do like it. Maybe there's a couple people who won't like it at all, but maybe you've geared some other things towards what they would like, that type of thing. Yeah, health card comes right out on top of it. So the health card, it's funny that I'm talking about food. Make choices that you want that actually lead you forward in a good direction. So for me, if we're going to use the food analogy, it's kind of like, the truth is I love sweet stuff, love it. Is it good for me? No. It actually triggers migraines and stuff like that for me. But it's kind of like, all right, how do I get a healthier version of this where I can take care of that sweet craving and it be healthy, but I'm also taken care of? So it's almost like dessert, for example. Maybe there's a couple choices for dessert, and I make sure like fresh cut pineapple and maybe some apples and peaches, fresh, just healthier versions. I have that available. Maybe some like vanilla ice cream that's just, if there's a healthier version of that, which there probably is, maybe a froyo, whatever. So it's kind of like, that's what I like, but maybe I make sure that some of these choices are not only something I like, but something that I feel is good for me. if you follow that reasoning. So when we're going into this, they're saying you do have a lot more control than you realize, but also make sure that you make positive choices for you that you really feel is good for your life. Not just the, you know, so if I'm looking forward and I'm just like, ooh, I want something good for dessert, you know, so how about, you know, how about some, you know, Boston cream donuts and a bit of ice cream and some cookies, some peanut butter cookies. Like that's like, that would be me looking out for what I want, but at the same time, that's way too much, and I would probably overindulge because I love all those things. So it's kind of like, let me pull that back. I also love, you know, cut pineapple, peaches, whatever else the other thing I said was, probably apples, you know, and so maybe a vanilla froyo. So it's kind of like, you know, making better choices, something that's still good, something you still like, but something that's more healthy. So they're saying keep the healthy idea in mind. As you keep moving forward, it's like don't stress yourself over it, but just kind of keep checking back with yourself, kind of like, oh, that's what I want. Is that the healthy version of what I want? And this could be like if you're dealing with people and you're dealing with like different personalities and different how people act, and you know, oh, you know, I want to work with this person, but I don't like their attitude, or I want to work with this person and sometimes they're gossipy about other people. How do I work with that person and make sure I keep that gossip at a minimum, or kind of like redirect the conversation away from gossip and more towards more productive things, more things that are still interesting but not gossipy. That's, you know what I mean? Follow that type of idea with this situation, because you do have a lot of influence. I keep getting over and over again, it's some of you may argue that and be like, I don't really feel like I have a lot of influence. This is telling me you have a lot more influence than you realize. So keep that in mind as we keep going forward. All right, so we're going into the future. Six of Swords. I just remembered why that was there. Six of Swords is like moving on from troubled times. And to keep that going well, we want to keep moving on from... That's the same card. This angels or swords in this. So Six of Swords, we want to move on from troubled times, and we want to let that happen. This was backing that up. Even if we don't really agree that it's going the best, we want to kind of roll with it. Let's keep going with it to see where that's going, because that's interesting. What we don't want to do is move too quickly and try to get things to go in a direction because we feel obligated to. So when I'm into this part, I feel like whatever's going on with this situation, whatever it is you're thinking of, or whoever you're thinking of, whatever it may be, there's going to be a part here where it's almost like I'm not paying attention to it as much as I normally would, and I'm kind of feeling like, uh-oh, like I'm dropping the ball here. I need to get back on point. I need to kind of like jump in quick and make some decisions. They're saying don't. Let things naturally germinate forward. It may feel like you're neglecting it, is what I keep getting. I feel like you're not. Like, I think we got a couple cards here. You are putting a lot of work into it, so you're definitely hardworking. Maybe it's one of those things where you just need a break, or the situation needs a minute to kind of grow a little better. That's going to be more of that. Okay. I'm also getting that the reason you want to kind of let it be where it is because things might be stuck for a second. Where are my dice? There are my dice. Can we get more information about why you want to let this kind of be for a minute? It just may seem counterintuitive when it happens, kind of like, I don't want to be neglectful. I don't want this to become a problem because I haven't dealt with it. Justice card in question is half in, half out. Then we got the 9, the dot's at the bottom there, that's why that's the 9. The 9 of Cups, reversed. Somebody else needs you to move forward. This situation needs you to move forward. If you just kind of let it stagnate for a minute and it doesn't go anywhere, I feel like other people are realizing that they need you to move forward and they're going to be more cooperative. It may be one of these things too, kind of like say you had a 2-week deadline. And when you have the full 2 weeks, people might be like, oh, I don't want to do this, and oh, we have time, oh, let's think about this, oh, let's think about that, and they're dragging their feet. Let them drag their feet. Then when it comes to like 2 days before, and you're like, we need to do something now, what are we going to do? You push forward what you want, because I feel like you'll already have that in mind, what you want to do. Like, already here, we already decided on what we wanted to do, looking out for yourself as well as other people. 2 days before the deadline comes in, you're like, well, it's time, we either have to move forward or not. And if we do, this is what we need to do. We have enough time to get this plan done. Let's do it my way and let's just get through it. And I feel like they're not going to give you much of a problem. let's see here. The Wheel of Fortune turning in your favor and having the courage to let it kind of get really closer to the deadline. The courage part, I feel like the deadline thing, I feel like that's hard. Kind of like having the courage to kind of let it go that way and let it keep, you know, all right, they don't want to work with it. They want to keep hemming and hawing 2 weeks. All right, just let it sit there until you get like 2 days beforehand. And then like, well, listen, I got a plan. We're either going to do it or we're not. Are we going to fail or are we going to succeed? If we're going to succeed, follow me. Let's do it. And I'm going to need all of you. And just go with it. You have more influence than you realize. 10 of Trees. I feel like people, that's the 10 of Pentacles in most decks. This is going to stabilize things for other people. It's going to work very well. It does take a lot of conflict out of the situation is what I'm getting. By letting it wait, letting it sit, waiting till that final moment, kind of like, all right, I have a plan. We're either going to fail or succeed. If you want to succeed, you got to come with me and you all have to come or we're really going to fail. I keep getting people are going to work with you on that. It's the slow game. It's the tortoise. I get that with the Page of Pentacles. It's kind of like, you know, I'm just letting people do what they want to do. I'm letting them fight it out amongst themselves if that's what's going on, I'm letting it take its time. I feel like when I see that, that's your hopes and fears. It's kind of like, I feel like I'm not doing enough. I feel like I'm lagging behind. I feel like I should be leading more. I feel like I should be making more things happen. It's going to be hard to do this. I think very much that's why the courage is here. Because it's not the easier way to do it because it makes you physically uncomfortable. I mean, like emotionally uncomfortable is what I should have said. But, well, maybe physically. It depends on how things feel for you. But let's just see. What is the outcome if we go this way? Can we have the outcome, please? Oh, the Lovers and the Knight of Pentacles. The Knight of Pentacles is a stronger card. I feel like I've already had the plan. We're just moving forward with the plan, and I feel like I am very much happy with the outcome this way. We do get past the conflict. It goes much better than we expected it to. I just feel like it does feel counterintuitive to like go, we have 2 weeks to plan this and nobody wants to do anything. I feel like I should be pushing it forward. I feel like I should be trying to get people in line and really kind of pushing forward like we need to make a plan now. It seems like that would be the natural thing. Like I feel like that's how we should do this, but it's not working out that way. As long as you have in mind what you want to do and you've already have it, like this is how I would like this to work out, let them hem and haw back and forth, this and that. Wait till 2 days before the deadline if that's how this is working. But I feel like you'll know what I mean. Even if you don't have a deadline, like it's getting closer to the time we either have to do something or we don't do something. When you get closer to that deadline, kind of like, listen, we're getting to the point we either do it or we don't. And if you want to do it, here's the plan, let's go. If you don't, I have to go on and do other things. That may be a version of this too, kind of like, listen, if we're going to do this, I'm going to be a part of it if we can do it now, but we have to start today. Here's my plan. We either agree and go forward at the end of today. If we're still arguing and we can't agree, I'm going on to something else because I'm not going to wait. Make sure you push that forward too. That's the courage to say, listen, we either start today, and unless anybody else has a better plan, we do this plan. If you guys want to keep hemming and hawing, tomorrow I'm not a part of this. Tomorrow I'm not going to be a part of this hemming and hawing anymore. I'm letting go. I'm going in a different direction. I'm getting, if you just do that, let it go to the side, let it go to the side, let it go to the side. That's what this is saying, like at the Six of Swords twice. And then at the last moment say, listen, we either do this or we don't. People want you to be a part of this. You have more influence than you realize. It will work out great. You got the Lover's card here at the end. Like, it's a great thing. Hopefully that's on camera. I think it is. Like, here's the last two cards in case you can't see them. So, it's a really good outcome. Very positive outcome. All right. I think we're pretty much there. So at this point, I will say, if you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below, same email. Thank you very much for watching, and you have a great day. Hello. This is for the people who chose the sparkly heart here. It's not fool's gold, but it's got that copper color, and in case you want to, I probably should have shown this in the beginning, but kind of shimmers a little bit. I don't think it's a precious stone or anything like that, but it's really pretty, that's for sure. So if you chose this stone, the question is how to get past the conflict. So let's see where this goes for you. All right, so I feel like I should probably explain this. as I put down the cards, because I'm using a version of the Celtic Cross, but I'm a big fan of doing it the way it feels comfortable to me. So it might be a little bit out of standard from what maybe you were taught if you do know the Celtic Cross. The way I read it is these first two cards are the current influence. The top card is like the weather, the passing moment, how the things are right now. To the right, I read as the past. Not everybody does, but that's how I learned it, so that's how I do it. To the bottom is the foundation of the situation, what you're standing on. This is your future, and this is where it could go well. This is where it might not go well. That's your outcome. Now we got 3 cards missing here, I just realized, but I feel like we're going to use the Oracle cards for those for whatever reason. Okay, so this is how you currently stand in this situation. This is environmental factors, and this is your hopes and fears. So those might be more open spaces at this time, just based on how this reading is. I also have the dice here, so we'll add the dice in as necessary. So that might clarify this energy a little bit more. It's just interesting that we're using just Oracle cards for that. So what is this situation that you want to get past the conflict? Like, what is this based in? All right, so it's a pleasurable situation, but there doesn't seem to be a lot that, like if I was going to put this as you, I don't know if that's you. The situation doesn't have a lot of maturity, I guess you would say. It's not fully developed. It's something that, there's some good stuff there, but it's not really fully actualized at the moment. Where did it come from? When I get the 5 of Swords for me is like the fruitless win. So it's almost like, well, it's better than nothing. So the situation came from like the feeling of, well, it's better than nothing is kind of what I keep getting. Very simple to start. There's not a lot here to work with just to start. And I get that that's why we're seeing, it's something that maybe was giving you a break or allowing a bit of healing. Maybe that's why you kind of got involved in this situation. Kind of like, I'm not overly invested in it, but I don't really want to be. I'm healing from some other situations. This is moving fast a lot quicker than I thought it would. All right, so the 9 in Major Arcana is typically the Hermit card. Sometimes talks about Virgo energy. And we got the 8 of Cups above it. I feel like this is a situation where I'm moving on from past pain. I really feel like that's the whole reason I'm even a part of this, is because I'm moving on from past pain. It's a very cut and dry reading so far. There's not a lot of extra information. Can we get anything else from that? And that's the 14. That's the Temperance card on this one. And that's the 4 of Fire reversed. It's like the releasing of a bond, the releasing of a contract. Some of you might be freshly out of a relationship or freshly out of a job. Or maybe you just started this current situation. Maybe that's why you don't really want to be overly bound to something. Like maybe the last job or the last relationship, whatever it may have been, I felt very tied to. I felt like I was trapped in. But then when I got out of it, I didn't think I would get out of it. And now I don't really want to tie myself to something like that again. It's kind of like if it was a job, for example, maybe you had a job with a lot of responsibility and you felt very tied to it, and a lot of people were, depending on you, or maybe the paycheck, it was a higher paycheck and you felt very bound to it. But now that you've kind of moved on from that and added up your life in a different way, you're like, I don't want to get stuck with all those binds again. I don't want to get stuck with all those boundaries or all those needs to do this and needs to do that. I like feeling more free. I like feeling more like I can be who I want when I want, not per somebody else's expectations. So I feel like I've escaped from other people's expectations with the current situation, and that's why I'm doing this. That's why you're a part of the situation. You are healing. But the thing is, so I'm going to use like vitamin C as an example. Vitamin C, in my opinion, can do a lot to boost your immune system. Too much vitamin C, and because I had a relative go through this, if you are overdoing it, overdosing with vitamin C, the person I'm thinking of got kidney stones from it, which was ironic because I never knew that could be a thing. She stopped taking it altogether, and then it wasn't a problem again. This was a long time ago. She had an issue. So they dissolved fairly quickly, but the thing is, if you overdo it with the healing, at some point it could relapse and go the other way. So we got to be careful, like, to use the healing energy to be in this healing mode while it's still healing. So it's kind of like if you keep a Band-Aid on too long, it stops. After a while, it won't be as healing as so much as like blocking the air from, finishing up the situation. So we got to be very much aware of what we're doing to heal the situation and be willing to transfer or change how we are handling it as we keep moving forward if necessary. I feel like this is all about the same thing. I don't want to move forward. This is first. The weather is currently like, I don't want to get back into that again. I feel very strongly about it. That's why we have passion with the Nine of Wands. The Nine of Wands to me is like, it's keeping something in. It's like keeping it here. So the difference between the Nine of Wands and the Seven of Wands, for example, it's like if you think of a fence, the Nine of Wands is keeping everything on your side of the fence, keeping things safe that you want. That's how I read it. The Seven of Wands is keeping things outside of that fence from getting in. So I'm getting, with the Nine of Wands, like there's certain things I'm just trying to keep control of. I'm trying to protect myself. I'm trying to keep it from other people from hurting me or causing an issue. And I feel very strongly about that. That's why the Passion card is there. Like, I don't want to have those problems again. And it might be one of those things where this reading might be clicking for you in the sense of like, you know what? For example, if it was a job, it's kind of like I would like to have that really good paycheck again. I just don't want to feel like I'm like, trapped in my job again. So is there a way for me to work this out and to get back into this level that I want to be without feeling that pressure that just was destroying my life? Vice versa, say it was a relationship. I got out of a relationship that turned out to be a very abusive relationship. How do I go into, I would like another relationship, I just don't want it to be abusive. How do I find somebody that's going to be good to me, especially if you're a person that's kind of like, I've had the last 3 relationships and they've all been, different versions of, dumpster fires, and I don't want another dumpster fire. It sounds like a reasonable request. But it might be one of those things where I don't trust myself to find the right one because I think I did, and then lo and behold, a little time passes, and I'm like, oh, here I am stuck with another bum, and this ain't good. This ain't good. So I can understand where this is coming from. Kind of like part of you wants to move forward and find it again. The other part's like, yeah, but I don't know. It seems to always turn out the same, and I didn't like those outcomes. All right, the future is coming. What is it? 2 of Pentacles, a long-term decision. All right, so this is like advised. This is what's not so good or advised not to do. This is what is good and what is advised to do to get you more towards the direction of where you want to be versus where you currently are. So this is what they're saying will not lead you where you want to be. Being more solitary, being more on your own, and just going with the flow and getting along with people. Ironically, I feel like this happens to a lot of people. If I just get along with people, if I just do what they want, if I just play it out the way they want me to, or if I just try to do what I think fits here, I just try to fit the mold. I try to go with the crowd. That type of energy, that's gonna take you somewhere you don't want to go. That's gonna return you back to where you've been. What is the environment around you like? The Seduction card. So I feel like when I see that Seduction card, like something or someone wants your attention. That does not mean it's good for you. It also does not mean it's bad for you. I feel like for a lot of you, when I see that Seduction card over there, you have more than one option to go forward. You have more than one possibility. It's just kind of like taking out the fantasy and putting in the reality. It's kind of like the fish here in the background, like mermaids are in this realm a fantasy creature. Let's just go that way. But then you see this beautiful flower here, which I believe is the lotus, or it looks like a lily pad. So that's like a whatever that is on the lily pad. Is it a lotus? No, lily pad flower there. That's what's real. So there is something real to be here. It's like we have to be more discerning to find out, all these people or all these situations want your attention. I need to separate fact from fantasy. And I had to find out like what I can realistically build from to create what I actually want versus somebody just telling me nice things. So if we're going to go the relationship thing, it's kind of like we're used to certain behaviors, or like I feel like certain people who trip over us, who just can't wait to please us, it seems like that has a shelf life. And it's kind of like, if they're doing all this to get my attention now, does that stay? Or does that go after a while? Or after a while, if they kept up the same opinion or the same attitude, would that become obnoxious? Like, I feel like if we look at the situation a little closer, we probably can discern, what's more likely to stay and what's more likely to go and where it's going to evolve to. This is what it's advised to do. I'm nervous about it. The moon. Go towards the mystery. Go towards... All right, we're going to have to do some dice on that one. Because I'm going towards something that I feel like has possibility. You get the moon. 1, 2, 3. It's there. 4. There's a sliver of it. 5. I think maybe all those cards have them. But I'm getting a lot of moon references here, I'm noticing. Well, not every one of those cards have it, obviously. But I'm getting a lot of moon references here. So that sometimes talks about Pisces, talks about using your intuition, talks about artistic endeavorment, believing in yourself, trying something that's unorthodox. 5 of Pentacles reversed. Somebody who's really inclusive, like believing in something for like its face value, but kind of like you coming clean and saying this is what I want and being very honest. The 5 of Pentacles is like maybe oversharing sometime, which is kind of the advice here. And then the High Priestess is kind of like a little bit out of balance in the sense of like asking for more than you think you're going to get. So going towards the direction where you ask for more than you think you're going to get and just seeing what happens with it, rolling the dice, going towards what you really want, and like taking a chance on something that would not normally be your thing. So it's like if we were talking about the dating situation. Maybe maybe you're kind of like, you know, I always go towards the bad person, bad guy, bad girl, whatever you want to call them, bad them. But this time, like this other person, they seem a little boring, but who knows? Maybe they have potential. Telling them what you want and just giving them a shot. They're not your normal thing. Same thing with the work situation. Maybe normally you work in shipping and logistics, and like they're kind of like you're getting a chance here to work in accounting. And you're like, well, I don't know if I really want to be a part of numbers and stuff like that. I can see how that could become monotonous. But it's kind of like roll the dice. Tell them what you want. Give it a shot and see what it would be like if that's not normally your cup of tea. Yeah, step outside the box. Step outside the box and do something differently. I also want to say if you're a person who's having issues with a relationship or maybe you've had a few bad relationships, I'm getting like... therapy is a beautiful thing. I believe it's betterhelp.com. I think if there's a lot of other influencers, creators that have it. I've never, like they'll give promotional codes. I don't have any connection with them, but it sounds good. If you look up BetterHelp online, I'm sure you'll find some videos about it and how it works. I'm a big fan of Paul McKenna, How to Mend Your Broken Heart. I use that for all different types of relationships to help bring down that anxiety and help empower you to get what you want. It's interesting because they're saying go towards something that's not your norm. Go towards the mystery. Go towards, like, allow yourself to fantasize a little bit, but see the true behaviors and go for something that you normally don't. Go outside the box. You know what I mean? So maybe the person, for example, if you're talking about a relationship, maybe the person you go for is normally dark hair and dark eyes. Go towards somebody who's not. Go for somebody with curly hair, blonde, you know, lighter eyes, whatever. Like if you find that you're normally attracted to a certain characteristic, veer away from that characteristic is what I'm getting. It's going to take work. This is how we get past the conflict. I feel like we're going back to that, what do you call it, the therapy thing. Whatever it is, I'm getting, like, especially if you're in a business situation, it's not just for relationships that you go to therapy. Like, business relationships are still relationships. I highly recommend therapy or Paul McKenna and stuff like that to help you get a better sense of, you know, how things should be working out. I feel like there's a lot of people, especially in the corporate world, who get pretty much bullied or abused because they feel like they have to bend themselves into pretzels to please everybody else so that they can thrive in the work environment. And that's not really correct. You can still thrive in the work environment and have healthy boundaries. Sometimes healthy boundaries will help you get even farther than you're used to. Highly recommend the therapy route. It is going to take a lot of work at the end here. Don't overthink the past, but do keep it in reference. Remember where you've been. Don't let it hold you down. When I get, especially because it's touching this card, and I want to go more that way, but they're saying with no, it's the H-E-R-M-I-T, Hermit. The Hermit card. You want to, like, it's half in, half out. You want to address and remember the past every now and then, but not in the sense of where it holds you down, kind of like, oh yeah, I've been through this before, and here I go, doing it again. Not in that sense. In the sense of like, all right, I've been through this before. Why is this popping in my mind? Is something replaying that I've been through before? Is this starting to feel like it did in the past? If it is, what is it that's going on? What is it that's triggering me, and what do I need to watch out for? If the past comes back to haunt you like that, it's not meant to hold you down. It's trying to give you a heads up like, hey, before this happens again, let's remember we've been down this road and we didn't like it. How do we choose a different path? Do we have to go, trekking through the woods? Do we have to create our own path through this field? Because if that's what we need to do, then that's what we need to do. Again, I know I'm going to be annoying with this, but therapy, a big therapy would help, especially if you can find a good therapist. If you can find a really good therapist, because, in every walk of life, there's good people and bad people. I'm sorry, I don't care what walk of life it is. But if you find a good therapist that knows what they're doing and can help you assign your needs and work with your needs, I feel like they can help you navigate this and be like, you know what, I know you didn't think you could do this, and you keep thinking this is the only road you can take, but this is triggering you, and you know this isn't what you want. You know what is it? Well, you know what an option is. There's a creek over here. You can go down and follow this creek, and that could take you somewhere else. It's not the most orthodox path. Some people may laugh at you for taking it, but you'll end up where you want to be. Is it worth being laughed at to be at a happier point, to be where you actually want to be in life? Or is it worth it just to follow the common path and end up where you don't want to be? So keep that in mind. You definitely want a I keep getting with this. Like, there's a lot more work that needs to be done. A therapist can help you, or somebody that you really feel knows what they're doing. Somebody who has a better handle on things. Maybe there's somebody in your life that you feel makes really good decisions in this area of life. Be careful with that, though, because that might be one of those things where they can tell you what they would do, and that might be right for their life, but that might not be right for your life. They may be able to give you great advice if they were living your life, but they're not living your life. Let's keep that in mind, too. That's why I'm highly recommending the therapist route. So you can move forward, heal the situation, and leave it behind. This is also going to be one of those situations. It's not like this is the last time you're going to come across this problem, but if you successfully sidestep and get what you want, it's kind of like, I think people get confused with this, so I feel like I got to explain this a little bit better. So, for example, you've had 3 bad relationships in a row. Let's say they were romantic relationships. Now the 4th one you're coming into, this one is good, and you're like, I'm going to keep this one for the rest of my life so I don't have to deal with this anymore, right? Wrong. Just because it's not a romantic relationship, other people will come into your life and try to abuse you like those past people. It just might not be romantic. You might have a coworker, or a friend, or somebody in your family might get a little worse than they normally are. So it's like we want to solve this pattern, because these patterns are not just resigned for one type of relationship, and I feel like we need to remember that. So keep that in mind. There will be work that needs to happen here at the end, but this can be something that you can improve upon to the point where when it does come around again, you're like, no thank you, and I'm moving on, and I'm not playing that game. That road is not one I'm ever going to go down again. Thank you very much, and I'm going to follow the creek upstream. Thank you very much. So this can go better for you. Hopefully this is inspiring for that. Okay, are we there? I think we're done. All right, with that being said, I'm going to shut this down here. Thank you for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below, same email. Thank you very much for watching, and you have a great day. Hello to all those people who chose that slice of pink geode. There's a couple little fun crystals in the center there, in case you want to see it a little closer. I don't think I showed it. Probably should have done this in the beginning. I said that with the heart one too. But for those of you who chose this one, the question is how to get past the conflict. Alright, so let's see if there'll be enough room if we keep that up there. So I'm going to be using a version of the Celtic Cross. I use it the way I learned it, plus I edited it a little bit, so heads up in case. I know some people may not like that, but this is how I read. Just heads up. So this first card, oh, we're going to do that face up. These 2 cards are what's currently happening. This is the weather, like passing through. I read this side as the past. So that's the past, where things came from. I know other people do it differently, but this is the foundation of the situation. What we're working with, basically what the house is built on. This is the future. What could go well, what might not go well. That's where that's going to be the environment. That's going to be the environment, and that's going to be your outcome. And then we're going to use, I don't think we're going to do these two cards. This would normally be where you're standing in the situation, and this is hopes and fears. I feel like those are yet to be developed. So, those are the oracle cards. Let's see what we have. So this is, again, how to get past the conflict. So this is what this is all based out of. Oh, a very happy connection. This is usually the happy home life card. Or a very strong bond of people that you feel very connected to. It could be a work situation, but if it is, you really love the people you work with and you really care about them and feel that they genuinely care about you. So it talks about a very positive, very loving community that you very much want to keep and you find a lot of value. Doesn't have to mean it's perfect, but it's a good one that you actually like and want to keep. The past. Ooh. It's been really good before. Like, I feel like there's a really strong positive connection is where this came from. We got the Knight of Cups coming in right after this too. So there's a lot of love in this situation. So it doesn't have to be romantic. But whatever it is, whoever it is, this could even be a job. It's a job that you really enjoy if that's what it is. And it's kind of like, I love doing it. This could be one of those things because they're kind of reminding me of something. I've had a couple jobs probably over 20 years ago where I loved the job. Maybe not so much the people, but I love the job. It could be one of those situations. Not that I had anything against the people, but I just didn't really click with the people. But the job part, I love that part. So let's keep going. You got a lot of positive cards starting right off the bat. I don't think all of these had positive cards, so this one does. So I feel like there's this weird energy of like, you know, how long is this going to last is kind of how I'm feeling about it. I'm kind of worried about it, a little nervous. How long does this last? How long is this going to keep going? Do I really fit? Am I doing my part? It feels like, you know, I love this so much that I want to make sure I hold on to it. Maybe there's some anxiety with that beauty card. Like, is there a shelf life on this situation? You know, everything must change at some point. There is some anxiety with it. Anxiety about possible changes. I'm going to go with, this is the environment, is what I keep getting. Ten of Pentacles, there's a lot of solidarity. It's very stable. The situation does seem very stable. This is interesting. So the fact that this even came up as a conflict is interesting to me. Alright, we have introspection coming in. Sometimes this talks about Virgo. It could be a timing card. No matter when you're watching this, it's valid for whenever you're watching it, but it could be during Virgo season, which is September-ish. The majority of it is in the early part of September. Or it could be when the moon is in Virgo. Keep that in mind. I've had that happen before with my readings. Sometimes this talks about the moon energy and like when the moon is in Virgo. If you look online, you can find out when the moon is in Virgo, so keep that in mind if you're worried about it. So this is what would not help you move forward. Holding back. What would help you move forward? Going with the Wheel of Fortune. No matter what way you choose, choose wisely. Okay, this is interesting. The Four of Cups is like, I keep feeling like this is a timing card, but this is introspection of like knowing what I need to do. There is something coming up that it's not going to be the most pleasant. I don't think it's going to be the worst thing in the world, but it's kind of like trying to figure out what to do with it next. Can we get a little bit more detail on this, please? 8. Strength card. Strength, and then the 7 of Swords, the 3 of is Swords, the 3 is air. So, there's going to be a moment here where things are starting to change. The Wheel of Fortune is definitely letting me know that. No matter what way we go here, I feel like there's a moment of change happening, and all I can do is, you know, stew on it. I don't feel like I have an action to do, especially with the 7 of Swords. I want to do something, but there's nothing I can do, and I don't want to make it worse, so I'm just kind of waiting. Take this with a grain of salt. It's almost like somebody else gets like a medical diagnosis, or maybe loses a job, or maybe gets a divorce, or something changes in the situation that I'm like, I feel bad about. Something like that. And it's kind of like, I don't know what to do about it. I want to do something about it, but there's nothing I can do about it at this point. I don't feel like there's anything I can do to heal the situation, even though I would love to. Again, remember, the situation is stronger than you realize. It's very strong. The trick is to not get held in, like, worry. The Four of Cups It's kind of like this situation is still very good, but like realizing that this one part of the situation is not what I want. I would like this to be good. I would like this person to have perfect health. I would like that marriage to have been able to work out. I would like that person to have kept their job or at least gotten a better job. I would love blah, 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 blah. You have a big heart. Whoever's watching this, I feel like you have a big heart and you want things to go better. The thing is, use your wisdom here. Don't hold yourself to like, I wish, I wish, I wish. Especially with things you literally have no control over. Center it more on, like, say, for example, maybe it's somebody who's had a health diagnosis that you feel bad, and you're like, oh my gosh. Invite them to lunch. You know, hang out with them more. Bring them food. Like, do something to help raise their spirits. You can't go through it for them. Maybe they don't want to share with you what they're going through, which is fine. But, like, you know, spend time with them if you can. Bring them some food, you know, talk with them. Tell them you found a new series or something or a new movie and you want them to watch it with you and just show up, or, you know, try to do something with that energy. Like, if somebody is going through something rough, offer to help make it go better. Or, you know, maybe, for example, if this is a work situation, take some things off their plate if you can, even if it's temporarily. I would also make sure you ask if you do that. Don't just do it. I don't know. I keep feeling like somebody's going to just go ahead and do something. I wouldn't just go ahead and do something. I would talk to the person first and see if that's what they want, and then go from there. Because either they'll say yes or no, and if they say no, they may be like, well, I don't really want that, but this is what I would like, and then they'll give you something else you can do to help them. Keep that in mind. This is hard because whatever's going on here, there's something going on that you can't fix. You can lend moral support. You can show, you know, how much you care and try to ease that burden. Don't step back and just feel sad for them, because I feel like a lot of people worry for other people. That doesn't help anything. Like, you worrying for somebody else, like if somebody breaks a bone and you worry about how they're going to make it through the day, just sitting there and worrying doesn't help. But if you're like, you know what, do you need a ride? Or, you know what, can I help you with this? Or, you know what, can I make food for you? Can I bring something over? Do you want to come over here to have dinner with me? You know, I know things have been rough. You know, maybe come with me to this, or we could watch a movie together or something, or create something, like start watching a show with them. Every time, once a week, go and see them, watch that show with them, maybe bring a little dessert or something. Stuff like that. Worry doesn't help. Create an action plan. It can be a very simple action plan. Don't try to save the world. I know that may sound odd, but like, don't try to do everything for them. Offer a little help and see where it goes for them. Offer to, like, you know, do something to help raise their spirits. They don't have to know that that's why you're doing it, because you genuinely care. Otherwise, you wouldn't even be bothering. Let's just be fair about that. But they're like, say, go forward. Don't worry. Do something. I think that's why these two are blank, because it keeps happening. This is happening to somebody else, and it really does seem to be bothering you. Is there anything else I can say before we get to the final card? 10 of Cups reversed and the Chariot reversed. Whoever's going through this situation, it does feel to me like they are extremely loved, but they might be doing this thing where they're isolating themselves, and they may not feel that. For that reason, it's like, you know, keep in contact with them as much as you can. Don't push too hard. This might be like once or twice a week, you just send a random text to them and just say, hey, I was thinking of you. Or maybe like you see something and you're like, oh, I saw this and I was thinking of you. I thought I should send you a picture of it and see how you're doing and just see if there's anything I can do for you. Or, you know, if I can come over, I can make this dessert I know you like, and maybe we could have some dessert together and watch a show. Like, I was just thinking about you. You might get the first 5 to 6 response, no thank you, no thank you. Sooner or later they will. They will want that connection. I feel like whoever this is going through this, they're having a hard moment. They might be ostracizing themselves. It's something a lot of us have to go through from time to time. That's why they're saying keep your energy out there. Try not to make it too overbearing. Make it so that they can step away from it if they need to. Just like, hey, if you got a minute, we'd just like to talk to you, or something like that. Don't make, like, that's like once or twice a week, once or twice maybe, no more than that. And if they don't want to talk, say, okay, you know, hope you feel better. I'll talk to you in a week or two, and just kind of leave it at that. You know, use your intuition on it. What is the outcome on this situation? Ace of Pentacles. That's a beautiful card. I love this card for you. Oh my gosh, I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm happy. I was nervous. I honestly was so nervous. I'm like, where is this going? If you're able to do this with this situation, you're going to be able to lift your own energy, but you're also going to be able to lift somebody else's. It's not fretting about it. It's pulling back. It's having some restraint, and it's not centering on the worry. Worry isn't helpful. Worry never. I've never heard of the energy of worry helping somebody. I've never heard of that, like creating a positive outcome. The only time worry has ever even come close is because it creates action. And when you use worry as your base emotion to create action, it usually doesn't go as best as it could. It could go a lot better if you use positivity and kind of like, what can I do? And go towards that instead of like, oh my God, I'm so worried. What can I do so I don't have to worry about this? That never works as well as going like, I care about this person. What can I do? Let me think of this. Let me think of that. Things could be better. I wonder what ways I could add into that, and like having a positive energy to it. It may seem like it's splitting hairs, but that attitude makes a huge difference. I'm getting whatever the situation is, I don't see an ending, I see a new beginning. So, for example, if we're going to do that health thing, whatever this is, this may change this person's life and they can't live their life like they used to anymore, and that might be very hard for them. You might be able to help them research and become a part of new things to where they can find joy in different ways that they never did before, even though they can't live like they used to. You might be a pivotal part, if I can say that right, in them finding a new way to do it. Who knows? Maybe you're even doing it with them. And there's possibilities here. Their life can be a lot better, and they can have more possibilities. This is where you can really make a difference, and I feel like this would raise your energy and their energy. This is a great thing. So, this is what we got for getting past the conflict. I hope that's helpful, because I think we're kind of there. Is there anything else with this? All right. I'm going to shut this down here. Thank you for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below. Same email. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.